Hey, it's 7 o'clock on Sunday, September 8th. So I'm going to go ahead and get started on Doing Business by the Good Book, 52 Lessons on Success, straight from the Bible. So since it's just me, I'm going to go ahead and read it. You ready? Chapter 1 is the entrepreneurial spirit. The verse is Luke 6:38. Give and it will be given to you, a good measure pressed down, shaken together, running over, will be put into your lap. For the measure you give will be the measure you get back. In the dictionary, an entrepreneur is defined as one who organizes, manages, and assumes the risk of a business. While the definition is valid, it seems sterile without a reference to the entrepreneurial spirit. When I think about the big leap I took by venturing out on my own, this is by David L. Stewart. I had more on my mind than just organizing, managing, and assuming the risk of the business. My thoughts focused on Noah's faith in God when he built the ark. Genesis 6:13 through 16 describes God telling Noah that he would destroy all flesh because the earth was filled with violence. Then God instructed Noah to build an ark measuring 300 cubits in length, or about 450 feet. The ark's width should be 75 feet, and it should stand 45 feet high. Imagine how much Noah had to trust God to take on such a task. Working with crude tools, Noah, a farmer from Ur, and his sons Shem, Ham, and Japheth constructed this huge vessel. Japheth? The biggest ever built in its day. Noah built it exactly to God's specifications, never deviating from his instructions. The ark was supposed to save Noah and his family room from an impending flood, yet there were no clouds in the sky that showed any sign of even a rain shower. It was a long day. Still, Noah and his sons worked day and night on the ark. People came from near and far to see the 4 driven men build a huge ark in the desert. I should do voice work. Neighbors and visitors ridiculed and cursed Noah, yet he never abandoned his faith in God. True, starting my own company was a minuscule task compared to Noah's. I was the son of a mechanic who was also a man of the soil. My father worked a small farm consisting of a couple of cows, a few chickens, and some hogs to feed his family of 10. Even though I had received my business degree from Central Missouri State University in 1973 and had held various sales and marketing positions with Union Pacific Railroad and Federal Express, people didn't hesitate to question me. What do you know about owning your own business? How could you quit a good job to start your own company? When you dare to have ambitions, people tend to ridicule you. They become vocal about why you cannot and even should not attempt to pursue your dreams. Some well-meaning friends and family members are trying to protect you, while others may be jealous that you might succeed. Few have the same belief in you that you have in yourself. There will always be someone who wants to rain on your parade, but an entrepreneur can't be swayed by other people's standards. Don't let them put you in a box. If you buy into what's expected of you, you'll be restricted by others' limitations. Better, you should be guided by God's unlimited promises. We've all been told, finish your education, get a good job, work for a good company, and you'll have a great life. In other words, work all your life, get a gold watch, and retire. This message is repeated and reinforced by people who are all too willing to tell us what they think we should do. Friends, teachers, and even college professors continually reinforce it, and then parents confirm this message to their children by being living examples of it. It takes a leap of faith to raise yourself above what others expect of you. The hardest thing to do is to take that first step to overcome your fears and self-doubt, especially when you're surrounded by doubting Thomases who constantly reinforce those fears based on their personal beliefs. Becoming a player in the world of information technology, IT, which was a new revolution in the 1980s, presented challenges to all who sought entry, and in particular, an African American. To this day, I can visualize the frowns on the faces of friends and family who said, they won't let you do that. And all I could think was, who's they? Who are they? Following about 10 years of employment in corporate America, in 1984, I started my own company, Transportation Business Specialist. My transition to the role of sole proprietor was difficult. It meant no longer having a supervisor to rely on, no steady paycheck, and no expense account. The umbilical cord was cut. I relinquished the safety net of a large corporation. along with a second entity, a sister company I created called Transport Administrative Services. We provided services to the transportation industry by locating inefficiencies in the commercial freight industry. These auditing services revealed how much the railroads were losing for undercharges as opposed to overcharges. At the time, many companies provided overcharge services, informing customers that shipped by rail when they were charged too much. But nobody had ever taken our approach and worked the other end of the equation. Consequently, we were engaged to do an undercharge audit of 3 years' worth of freight bills for Union Pacific Railroad, which meant that my company would manage $15 billion of rate information for a single client. The only way to handle that amount of information was through a local area network to link all of their operations. So we built what was at the time the biggest network in St. Louis. After I learned the benefits of effectively integrating technology to solve business problems, I formed my current company, Worldwide Technology, in 1990 with an investment of $250,000, hard-earned money from my 2 earlier ventures. WWT wasn't exactly an overnight success. We had our peaks and valleys, and although I never missed a single payroll, many weeks I didn't receive my own paycheck. Employees always came first. At one point in 1993, things were so tight, a collection company repossessed my car right from our parking lot. Fortunately, I ran after the car and was able to stop it so I could retrieve my briefcase from the trunk. When friends and acquaintances asked my wife, Thelma, about our new venture, and she explained what our IT company did, they'd roll their eyes. One woman even told Thelma, "Well, you guys must like living on the edge." We quickly learned to throw conventional wisdom out the window, knowing that what the world thinks is wise, God thinks is foolish. It is always darkest before the dawn, and even in the most discouraging times, I never lost my faith in God. I was in His hands, and I always knew the Lord would look after me. I continually reminded myself that when God told Abraham to take his only son to the altar to sacrifice him, Abraham did what he was told. Imagine the confusion in Abraham's mind, a man who was incredibly old when his son was born, and yet he was prepared to sacrifice him. At the time, Abraham didn't know God would have him sacrifice a lamb instead. If Abraham could have such faith in God, I believed I too could trust God to look after me. Throughout my life, I have followed examples set by individuals in the Bible, such men as Abraham, Noah, and David, who had been given charge to do God's work. And I, through my business and my daily life, have a charge to do God's work, to be obedient and find favor with the Lord. As the Bible tells us, we are here to sow seeds into people's lives. In Luke 6:38, Christ says, "Give and it will be given to you. A good measure pressed down, shaken together, running over, will be put into your lap. For the measure you give will be the measure you get back." I live my life by these words. My objective in business is not driven by how much money I make. I seek to serve and to give to others. In business, I'm getting kicked. In business, my biggest job as CEO and owner of my company is to serve others. My charge is to serve the employees of this organization and serve them well. In my company, I strive to nurture service and commitment to others, an attitude that places others before us. We abide by this philosophy rather than participating in a self-serving culture, and it permeates externally to customers and suppliers. Then, like a pebble cast into a lake, it ripples eventually into the shore. Trust and loyalty communicated to others assures long-term success. Jesus devoted his life to serving others. Even at the Last Supper, Jesus demonstrated that he was here to serve when he knelt to wash the feet of his disciples. In doing so, Jesus humbled himself, because Hebrew culture viewed the washing of feet as the lowliest of acts. Some of his disciples were so embarrassed they argued and refused to have their Lord and Savior serve them. But Jesus was there to serve, just as he was there to sacrifice his life for us. Similarly, the success of a business owner is dependent upon his or her desire to serve others. I believe this philosophy of servitude epitomizes the entrepreneurial spirit. Hey, so I had a really hard time with this, the whole serving. I didn't know how to balance what I knew about business and working, because I didn't go to work to serve others, hardly at all in my life. I went because I enjoyed the people I was around, and I loved benefiting people, but I was in it for the paycheck. So to have that mental switch when it came to multi-level marketing, to go from I'm here for the paycheck, tell me what to do, I'll do it, and then you pay me, to go over to I'm not sure what I'm doing, not seeing any income here, and I don't really want it to be about money. So that shift was difficult for me, but things like this have helped, like serving others. That's what I love about my job, is that I'm able to help others, or just to be able to walk alongside them as they grow and learn, and to maybe sometimes just kind of give them nudges. But like before I did my job, I left, I got paid, right? I mean, I enjoyed my jobs and I did them to the best of my ability. And I fought if there was injustices. I mean, good God, my first job straight out of college, I was in administrative meetings often, because I was a sign language interpreter. Well, it doesn't matter why, but like the way that they handled my position was not okay. And it wasn't okay for me, but more importantly, it also wasn't okay for the people that were going to come after me. So I get that. Like, I wasn't just in it to get what I wanted, because then I would just be fine with the way they were handling it, because there was only 3 interpreters in the entire district. So they kept giving us raises because they give an entire group a raise. That's not right. I mean, I'm glad that we were interpreters and not associates anymore, but like they weren't handling it properly. So yeah, anyway, I'm not good with that. And we're trying to pave the way for the people that are coming after us. And I get a little irritated sometimes when we get into those situations and the people before me haven't bothered to, because then it makes my life harder. But I want to make it easier for the people behind me too. So I get that part of it. So yeah. I wish there's someone else here to like. I like collaborations way better than you just listening to me talk. The other thing that was really, really hard was to break out of that mold of what other people expected out of you, so it's not that big of a deal that I'm doing one of those things, because I'm a stay-at-home mom, and a lot of stay-at-home moms do those things, to like, I don't know what people think. You're going to have to ask them. But what I love about my job, definitely, is that I get to play with people. I get to talk to people, and I get to help people and have real conversations with them, which is serving them. And I never really thought about it that way until I was like making questions for us. But anyway, I do have people in my life that think it's dumb. They think I'm taking advantage of people. They told me. It's not like I'm reading their minds. I've been told, and it's like, well, that's not where I'm coming from. But I don't think that part is a bad thing, So when I wasn't strong, it was easy to be swayed. But when I was very strong in what I needed to be doing, and I honestly needed the support of Eric, I needed my husband's support. And maybe I didn't, but I wasn't able to move forward until I did. Now, some other things have happened in our lives that have also helped, that have nothing to do with the business and everything to do with how I look at myself. Eric went through something with how he looks at himself, and that completely changed since the beginning of this year until now. Oh my gosh. Shooting for the stars and hitting every single one he shoots for. It's been amazing. And then mine's been a little more recent, so I don't know what the long-term effects will be. But like, that's what I'm doing right now. Nobody showed up. If nobody would have showed up I'm not like, it's fine. I mean, it's the first one that happens. But like last year when I tried to do this with another person, we weren't serving people. We were trying to, okay, I can't speak for her, but I was trying to do what I thought I needed to do to fulfill a role that I thought was supposed to, I didn't know where I fit in it, and I didn't understand why I was doing it. So, and it showed, and if nobody would have showed up to that, I'd just hung up and gone and done other stuff. So, and what he said too about it taking a leap of faith. It takes a leap of faith to raise yourself above what others expect out of you. Just like having a job where someone tells you where to go and where to be and when to be there and what to do, that's way easier, right? But it's not as fulfilling. I mean, it's just not. But you don't know until you've taken that leap of faith. And there's a transition there where you're going from having everything laid out for you to not having much of a view at all. There's a scene in the King's Speech. I don't know if you've seen the King's Speech. I went inside in the theater with a friend. I mean, this was a while ago, but there was one scene that really impacted me. So the king's wife is sitting in the back of a car, and it's in London, and it's foggy. And the driver is driving. So she's trusting the driver, and it's so foggy that in front of the driver, there's a runner with a lamp. And he's running ahead to make sure that they can still see. And the reason I was just like, oh my gosh, that was amazing, because sometimes we get to ride in the back and just trust because we have a good driver and a good runner. And sometimes we are the good driver that needs to pay that extra attention during that time of our life to make sure that we're keeping an eye on someone in front of us, And sometimes we're that runner where we are going into the dark knowing that we have people behind us that are depending on us. And out of those three, most people just want to sit in the back, right? But if we didn't have our runners, nobody would get anywhere. So, I don't know. Just really impacted me. So, the hardest thing that you can do is to take that first step to overcome your fears and self-doubt, especially when you're surrounded by doubting Thomases. Now, unless you were raised in an environment where the entrepreneurial spirit was nourished, you're probably surrounded by doubting Thomases or have people that are unsure. And like they said before, you're going to have some people that are going to tear you down because they just are. And you have some people that are genuinely concerned for you. But you need to remember that this is your life, right? I love how everybody thinks I do all this for everybody else. A lot of this is because I need to hear this. So you are the one. What is that? At the end of the day, everybody goes home. And you are the one that has to live with your choices. Right? So, yeah, who are they? Who are they? Like, well, who's this they you speak of, and what do I care what they think, So, yep. And then the Bible's full of great examples of people that just walked in faith, and they usually look a little crazy. So know that you're in good company. Let's see. And it's my job to be obedient and find favor with the Lord. And then serving others in humility. Be full of humility and be humbled. Yeah, I don't know if they're going to get into that later. I didn't read ahead past 4 chapters, but I don't know. It's just, I thought this was a really, really good chapter about, it hit some really good points, So I actually made up some questions. And the first one is just, where are you? Just because if you don't know where you are, it's really hard to go in the right direction. It's really difficult to move. So you just sit back and just take, I don't know, if you like to write things out, if you need to talk things out, I'm a talker. I'll probably do a personal vlog about this. Kind of memory now, I guess. But where are you? Where are you? And I don't know if it's just a girl thing or what, but it's a lot easier for me to point out where I'm not. Well, I'm not doing what this, I'm not doing, and I'm not, and I'm I'm not, I'm not where I want to be on a bunch of things. But the question I'm asking is, where are you? Where are you? I am here, I am here, I am here. I am doing this even though it's just me, and I'm going to keep doing it because I gave my word. Oh, so I have integrity and I have tenacity and maybe just a little bit of stubbornness, So where are you? Also, who's around you? Are the people that you're talking to being supportive and understanding, or are the people that you're talking to being feeding your fears? And if they're fear feeders, if they are fear feeders, I'm not saying kick them out of your life. I'm saying maybe just don't talk about this part with them, which is another reason why I kind of wanted to do this, was to have a nice supportive group of people that can just, you don't have to know what people are going through to just love them. And if you have those people in your life, those are the people you need to be gravitating towards. So, I got negative Nellies in my life too. I have people that are straight up naysayers, you know, but I also don't have to give them a place at my table. So Henry Cloud is a psychologist that talks about boundaries. I like the way he handles it. I don't remember if this one was exactly from him, but like, if you think of them as like a gift, someone had given you a gift, but it's a gift that doesn't fit with your decor and it's not something that you're really going to use, you don't have to throw it away. And you don't have to send it to the donation. You don't have to like foist them off on somebody else. You don't have to shove them in the basement. Is that what I just said? Throw them away. Okay. You don't have to shove them in the basement. You can display them. It just doesn't always have to be in your kitchen or in your living room, in a room that you're in all the time. It can be in like a side room, you know, and just put them on the shelf so that they are not interfering in dealing with your day-to-day life, and you can leave them on the shelf and not make them, I guess, yeah, not give them a seat at your table, essentially. Don't make them an influencing part of your life. Then the next one is, what are you listening to? I know like we think it doesn't matter, but it totally does. Like words matter. What we hear matters. Whether you're a literary person that likes words or you're an auditory person that listens to words, we have a bombardment of words throughout our entire life. I'm not telling you to quit your job if your job's a negative place. I'm saying the things that you actually have control over, which I guess you kind of have control over that, but no, I'm not saying that at all. But like, what music are you listening to? What input are you getting? What music are you listening to? What books are you reading? What we already talked about the friends you're surrounding with, but like, what do you do in your free time? Is it time wasting and mind numbing, or is it affirming and uplifting? So one's going to drag you down with it, and the other's going to help build you up. So, you know, we have control over that, what we listen to and what we do. And I'm not saying you have to go listen to AM radio. Frankly, it usually irritates me. But we listen to a lot of Christian music. One of my favorites to listen to, whether the kids are here or not, is the Seeds Family Worship, because they only sing Bible verses. It's little kids singing, but it's only Bible verses. And then I can quote big, long Bible verses because it's a song that I know in my head. I like podcasts. I like listening to sermons. And I like listening to audiobooks. I'm not going to lie. I'll put in an audiobook that's well written. If it's well written, I'd love to hear it. And sometimes it's funny. Oh, I like the funny ones. I don't like bummer books. I like funny books. I also like thinking books, but usually not a ton of them. It was recommended to me to fill my head with good birth stories. So I just got this book on Friday, and I'm really kind of excited to hear some good stories, because I only have bad ones. And a lot of times the stories that people choose to share are not so great. It's like Eric says, bad news runs around the world 3 times before good news has a chance to put its shoes on. Oh, maybe he says that about gossip and truth, but it's true about that too. You know, like, bad things will run around the world 3 times before good things have a chance to put their shoes on. So yeah, it was good to have like an entire book. I can't wait. Probably gonna cry, which I kind of do anyway. But anyway, so then how are you serving? And I'm not asking who you're serving yet. That's coming up in a little bit. But how are you serving? Because you are serving. You're doing something for someone somewhere, unless you live in a hole. You do something for someone somewhere. So then, just like as a nice little list of wins, you can just say what you do. Like, how are you serving? So the first question was, where are you? Who is around you? What are you listening to? And then, how are you serving? How are you serving? Because you are. I know you are. You have to be. So how are you serving? You're doing something for someone. Nobody, right? I mean, if you are, I guess. But you're serving somewhere, somehow. Even if it's just feeding your cat, you're serving your cat then, you know? So get your wins down. So then the next question is, who do you serve? Who do you serve? And then the next one is, who should you serve? So that'll be the kicker. So who do you serve? So how are you serving? Who do you serve? And then who should you serve? So one person that often gets left off the list is me. I don't usually serve me. I'm not usually making sure I'm taken care of, and I'm not usually making sure that things are going easier for me. I make life easier for my kids. I make life easier for my husband. I make life easier for a lot of people in my life, but I don't make my life easier. Usually I'm making my life harder. So one person that I really need to serve is me. I need to make sure that I make myself a priority. So yeah, that's it. There's like 6 questions. If you want, you can fill them out. And then if you watch this, which I'm not even sure where I'm going to put it, so good luck with that. And yeah, so that was chapter 1, the entrepreneurial spirit for doing business by the good book. And if you get a chance to reflect on those questions, you can comment on this if you would like. If you have my cell phone number, you can just text me. Facebook Messenger is another place you can get a hold of me, because chances are you heard about this on Facebook, because I didn't really promote this. So, and if you catch this later, yeah, if you have any of that information, send it to me too. I have 4 minutes left, so I'm going to tell you something funny. So I feel like my teenage boy is like a typical boy in that he is horribly unobservant. So I have this ginormous sticky on the wall. So when he comes downstairs, it says like, Ben's the best. And then I'll put like things on it. And down in the corner, I wrote, text me when you see this. And I wrote the word, text me spigot when you see this. And I sent it to him I put it up there on, in September. And I'm sitting in the bathroom, and on Tuesday, January 29th at 7:36 a.m., I get the word spigot texted to me from my son. October, November, December, January. 4 months later, he noticed it. So I guess what I'm saying here is sometimes it takes us just a minute to realize things that are right in front of us. And sometimes it takes us just a second or 4 months or 3 years for things to really sink in so that you're able to continue on. So also I would just like to say that you are doing great. And don't forget to good, better, best you too, and to realize that a millimeter of progress is progress and that you're doing amazing. So keep breathing and keep moving and keep trying and keep striving, and you'll get there. You know, nobody gets over the mountain in a giant leap. No one. And you wouldn't want to either, because you'd miss all the beautiful things along the way. Anyway, all right. I stayed under 30 minutes. Thank you for your time. And, you know, you're amazing. And I'm grateful for you. And I just want you to know that you are vital and appreciated.